Well, prosecutors and judges are being called upon to end cash bail requirements in order to ease overcrowding on Rikers Island.
This is not justice. This is human torture, and it is happening in New York City, in the United States of America, which we are so proud of. We cannot continue to be proud until Rikers Island is gone and we no longer set bail on our most vulnerable, impoverished people.
We all have a duty to do more. 12 lives have been lost. I don't care if I offended any one of you, because 12 lives will not be brought back. I dare you to not do your part to save the next one.
Advocates are calling for prosecutors in all 5 district attorneys' offices to stop asking for cash bail for non-violent offenses, which keeps offenders in custody while they wait for trial. Marvin Mayfield knows what this feels like firsthand. He's a formerly incarcerated person who spent nearly a year on Rikers Island awaiting his court date because he could not afford to post bail. Marvin's now a statewide advocate at the Center for Community Alternatives. So good morning to you, Marvin. Thanks for being here. Yep, you're good. How you doing?
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
So, Marvin, can you explain exactly how cash bail works and whether or not prosecutors and judges have any leeway, really, when it comes to imposing bail?
Well, bail was supposed to be a way to ensure that people return for their court dates. You paid your bail, you were released, and once your case was over, the bail payment was returned. But instead, this system led to mass pretrial incarceration. In 2017, there were 25,000 people incarcerated in New York's jails each day. And 70% were there pretrial, overwhelmingly because they could not afford bail.
Right.
This system criminalized poverty because wealthy people could pay their way out of jail, while poor people, overwhelmingly people of color, languished behind bars. It's devastating to individuals and families who lost their jobs and housing and health care from just a few days of pretrial incarceration. And the horrific conditions, like on Rikers today, also led to the coercion of plea deals. And finally, at its most basic, pretrial incarceration violates our constitutional right to be treated as innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah, well, New York State passed a bail reform law nearly a year ago, which is supposed to end the punitive cash bail practices. So why hasn't that law helped?
I think that's in your perspective. The bail reform, as I said, in 2017, there were 16,000 people incarcerated pretrial each day. Today there are 11,000, and that's a 31% reduction in the number of people incarcerated pretrial. But there are 2 problems. The first is that people, because of fear-mongering by prosecutors and police unions and others, the legislature partially rolled back the reform 6 months after they went into effect. This led to an increase in pretrial incarceration because it allowed judges to set bail and incarcerate someone pretrial in a larger number of cases. This was not sound policy. It responds to fear-mongering tactics by district attorneys and police unions.
So Marvin, you mentioned prosecutors, right, and asking for cash bail as an incentive for people to not skip out on court dates. I've talked to Police Commissioner Dermot Shea about this for a long time, and that cash bail is no longer an option. So the question that he asks is, how do you hold people accountable?
Well, research and data from various community bail funds show that people will return for their court dates, regardless of whether they have paid monetary bail or not. We found that the best ways to ensure that someone returns to court is to remind them that they have a court date. It's just that simple. And we've seen this occur with bail reform laws, which requires a court date notification. People are making their court dates. And I think one other important thing to note is that bail is not and should not be about holding people accountable. In the pretrial context, they've not been convicted of a crime. They've not just been evaluated. There's been a lot of fear-mongering effort by law enforcement to act as if an arrest equals guilt. And that's just a slap in the face of justice, of fairness, and of our constitutional protection.
Marvin Mayfield, I appreciate you being here to discuss this important topic with us this morning. Have a good one.
Well, thank you. Thanks for allowing me to be here.
Yeah.
Take care.